Hello everyone, how's it going? Trying this YouTube streaming. Feel free to ask any questions if you have them. I will be continuing my Tales of the Future range. And what is this, you might ask? If you follow me on YouTube, then you are already somewhat aware of it. But nonetheless, I created this world where basically robots exist and clone soldiers and genetically modified soldiers, and I'm just creating characters in that world. And this is the latest one. They are supposed to be drifter-like characters that wander the deserts and the wastelands of this area, of this world, because most of humanity is living in 2 or 3 larger cities, and those guys, they kind of don't want to fit in there into those societies and just try to walk around and make a living somewhat. So I can see that there's some viewers. Don't forget to say hi so I can see who's actually here. I think you need a Google account to chat, or maybe a YouTube account, but people should have that. Let me just share the link on Facebook too. Give me a second. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I'll make my best to answer them. Okay, there we go. This should work. So how's everyone doing? Testing this. Alright, so yesterday I had about 1.5 hours, and I just sketched this character. So meet the armature. It's just a simple T armature with a central rod and a horizontal rod just going there, and yeah, a bit of aluminum foil for the head and the rib cage, so that I don't have a lot of movement there. And yeah, as you saw, what did I want to say? Yeah, I'm doing busts and maximum half figures for this one, because I kind of feel like busts can transport character just as well as full figures, and I just want to create a few characters and not get caught up with actually having to do arms, legs, and so on that don't really add too much to the character. Hey Alex, I have trouble. First of all, thank you for your kind comment. I have trouble building up a head. Initial shapes, left part is always off. The thing is, I just made a video about that. You can go and watch that. But what I do, obviously there's the tricks like putting in the the symmetry and the lines, like the upper third and the middle third and the lower third and then the middle, and defining where the eye sockets go and so on. But if you have trouble with your off hand side or the weaker hand side, so obviously I'm right-handed, so this side is going to be better for me. So this side is going to be better for me, but obviously this side, what am I going to do on this side, right? So I would have to learn to sculpt with my left hand. But what you can do, it's an easy trick. You can just turn it around and then just try. Don't think too much on what you're actually sculpting, but try to mimic this side. So after you defined everything on your right hand side, just turn it around and try to get the symmetry done this way. It's a good thing actually. I kind of saw that I might have a bit of an issue here with symmetry. So yeah, usually once you turn it around like that, you instantly see that there's maybe some parts that are off and so on. So that's what you can do. But yeah, if you want the whole explanation, you can just go and watch the video. It's on my channel. Okay, and something useful that I have, and I'm not going to mention the company's name because they refuse to sponsor me. But there's these, I don't know, there's a certain name for them, but I just don't remember it. A crochet or something like that. Just anatomy references that I use, that I just put there, and then just do the typical anatomy, and then exaggerate it or under exaggerate it. No, is that a word? Under exaggerate. Yeah, so for example, if we have a muscular dude, I'll overdo it, and if it's more like a skinny dude, then I'll just try not to put as much muscles on and so on. But yeah, for anatomy, for basic anatomy, that reference is pretty good. So right now I'm just going to create the shoulder area, and I'm probably going to stick to somewhat, let's see, yeah, I'll probably come a tiny bit down still to about here. Hey Hans Woody, how's it going? Are you welcome, Alex? If you have any more questions, just feel free to ask. It's always a good thing when people ask questions, because then I have something to answer and I don't have to talk to myself. Yeah, again, just going with that basic anatomy, and I'm not going too crazy about it. I'm not going to detail it fully. But even if you are covering your basic anatomy later, it's a good thing to at least place it there, because then you know your proportions are right, and even if you put armor on top of it, then, like I said, yeah, your armor is actually covering the whole arm and all the muscle tissue, and it's not going to look too tiny and so on. Hey Bilal, sorry if I mispronounced your name there, but yeah, this is a polymer clay that you can bake afterwards, and the reason I do that is because I don't do my own casting. I send it off to a caster. And for that I need it to be sendable, and it needs to survive being sent around through Europe. But yeah, it's bakeable polymer clay. And the name is actually Super Sculpey, so it's just straightforward. You could also use Fimo for that kind of sculpture. It's rather easy to get into if you have a few tricks and if you know how to do an armature. But those tricks are all on my YouTube, on my channel, so you can check it out if you want to. So how's everyone doing? Are you guys also sculpting, or did you just stumble over my channel or the live chats? Like I said, if you have any specific questions, feel free to ask. I am a freelance miniature designer. I also do paint, as you can see from my channel. So I come from regular miniature painting, and eventually I went into conversions and redesigning some existing miniatures like this, and then just kind of ended up doing my own stuff. And also, like I said, I paint the busts that I sculpt. So for example, this little guy here, that's also part of this universe. Actually, this guy is what triggered the idea for doing Tales of the Future. Hold on. Hey Acetylene, how's it going? Also sculpting right now. Good to hear. What are you sculpting? Wait, what's up? Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, this is the latest sculpt that I did, or is it? Yeah, the latest finished one at least. I think you all know this one, and yeah, you can see I also paint my stuff. For those of you that don't know me. Thank you, Billiano. Right, so these shoulders don't actually have an armature below them, so I got to be a tiny bit careful with the pressure that I apply. So just slowly adding more and more volumes there. Sculpting the blue shell from Mario Kart, did one 3 years ago, and just doing a skill. Oh, I see. Skill comparison over the years. Let me know how that comparison turned out. And if you're happy with the progress. Oops. But yeah, like I said, I'm a freelance sculptor, and currently I'm working on a piece for Aradia. It's a fallen angel demon. So a devil, actually. And this is the current stage. So they wanted a devil. I don't have the horn nearby at the moment. But also this is not baked yet, so I can't really touch it or anything. But they wanted a frozen devil that's fallen from the skies. Yeah, and the wing goes in here, and then you can actually position it like this if you want to, or up right like a bust, so there's yeah, an option to place it either way, but yeah, that's usually what I do. Back then I used normal clay, but I switched to super sculpting last year, and just the material itself makes such a difference. Normal clay, do you mean like just earth clay or mineral clay? I actually don't know how you would call it in English. But yeah, it is a big thing, the material you're using. So for example, a lot of people start out their first sculpting or clay experiences are with green stuff, since it is recommended by Games Workshop, for example, or sold by Games Workshop. It's not like they would recommend anything that isn't their own brand. Yeah, and they get frustrated because it's not really working the way they want to, for obvious reasons. Yeah, that's also why craft paints usually don't work that well for miniature painting and so on. So just finding the right tools and medium is a big step. Although I know that not everyone likes super sculpting as a medium, especially if you're doing busts, because Beast Body, for example, is more sturdy and you can just build layers on layers and you won't have a lot of movement, even without an armature that fills everything. Yeah, again, just building that initial anatomy using my reference. Not smoothing out everything already, because like I said, I'm going to be putting some armor on this guy. That would be wasted effort. Don't remember exactly, it was either modeling clay from the art store or Fimo. That's funny though, because Fimo is basically the same, so it was probably just some random art clay. I mean, I started with Fimo once the first time I moved into polymer sculpting. And it was okay too, so of course I'm a little more happy with super sculpting, but for the initial getting my feet wet, it was a good thing. Actually, like I often say that I want to go back and try something with Fimo again, just for the sake of finding out if I'm remembering stuff maybe wrong about it, or yeah, just to refresh my memory about how it behaved and all of that. Oh, it was air drying clay, I see. Yeah, then it was not Fimo, because you also have to bake Fimo. Okay, so one of my favorite measurements is using these, the scapula, the collarbone. I need to refresh my anatomy. Either way, the collarbone, and measure down towards where the sternum should end, and that should be about here. And if you were doing a full sculpture, then you would also measure down from there to the end of the rib cage, but of course we don't have a rib cage. But this gives us the area where the pectoris starts, so it should be somewhat here. Considering the inclination of the body a tiny bit. Okay, so we need a bit more material there. Hey Sam Saliba, thank you. Any interest in military historical miniatures? Interest, yes. I just don't have enough time to paint a lot of them. I do have 2 versions. Or 2 examples. So yeah, I did this one bust by Life Miniatures that I'm not super happy with, but it was a first try on a historical piece. And I kind of like how the wood turned out, so it was interesting to paint some textures. Also the straps, kind of happy with. Not 100% happy with how the uniform form turned out, and also not that happy with the helmet, but yeah, I think it was okay for a first try. Got a bit of the lettering wrong. I'm not 100% happy with the face either. But yeah, and then I also, I mean, I bought a few, is it maybe 50mm Germans and World War II figures after that, but I didn't get around to paint them. And then I have this guy. That's my other historical miniature, the only other historical miniature that I also have. Not streaming on Twitch anymore. I am streaming on Twitch. I just, you know, want to see how it goes, and especially I think when I'm streaming sculpting, it might be better to stream on YouTube. I don't know. I just want to try a few things. But Twitch has been, you know, Twitch is more of an entertainment platform where you have to be a clown and do events and all that stuff, and people, yeah, that's why people watch you there. And I'm always more of I was always more of an educator than an entertainer, so I don't know, I just don't feel like I belong on Twitch. But I'm not giving up Twitch streaming, so I'll just do what I have to do, and when there's time then I'll stream on Twitch again. I just wanted to try YouTube for a change. I'm also going to stream on Facebook, just to promote my Patreon a bit more, because I have to earn some money. It's the unfortunate truth that I have to, I don't know, I have to make this a living or go back to teaching. That's just the way it is. And I prefer to do this and share it with the world. And yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if the Patreon would take off. Then I could just continue doing that, and then I would just stream all day and make videos and so on. But we will see how it turns out. The thing is, right now I can't really stream a lot. I have to do some sculpting offline, because I just can't do, you know, the detail that is required for these on camera, because I need to be up like this, up close like this, and then I also have my magnifying glasses for that. But I mean, this scale is better, so that's why I'm streaming this scale. Thanks for sharing both. Thank you. Glad you say that, Sam Saliba. What is your interest? How do you say a time period? What time period is your favorite historical figures, military figures? And the thing is, when I'm painting, I am more the experimental guy, I think. So I'm just trying to play with colors and texture and all of that. And I feel with historical stuff you're a bit limited. I mean, which is fine, right? Sometimes you just want to recreate realism and all that stuff. And I also have the urge to do that sometimes. But I feel like with fantasy stuff, fantasy and science fiction stuff, I'm more free to do crazy stuff. So for example here, I just wanted to paint green skin, and there we go. But yeah, like I said, it's to switch it up. I also like historical stuff. That's great one, a bit more weathering on the helmet maybe. Yeah, the thing is, I wouldn't go. The thing is, it just doesn't look realistic. There's some steps that I probably made some mistakes on. So, but I learned a lot for the next ones. I mean, with everything that you do for the first time, it's probably not going to be your masterpiece. So, like I said, it's fine. But yeah, there's definitely something wrong with the weathering that I need to fix. I just don't want to spend too much time on just one miniature and try new things. Oh, Napoleonic and Middle Ages. Yeah, that's cool. I think my favorites are World War II and maybe the Roman times. Hey Ulrich, how's it going? What, live on YouTube? Yes, live on YouTube. Just because I want to try new things, you know. Especially when I'm sculpting, I kind of feel like, I don't know. Won't abandon Twitch for sure, but I just want to branch out a bit with viewership. What's my thoughts on the new Motarian? I actually already filmed the first half of a video on that. I mean, the thing is, they didn't actually show too much of it yet. The first picture I saw, I thought it was horrible. I didn't like it at all, but then they came out with that little teaser where they tried to be funny and all that, and yeah, I don't know if I laughed. I don't think so, but it looked a lot better. But then they have that turntable where they go like this, like zzz, and then and you're like, okay, I don't know, still doesn't tell me a lot, but okay. So yeah, I'm still a bit unsure, but in general I just think it's too overloaded. It seems like they're scared to have just areas where they don't have details, and that's kind of pissing me off. No, it's not like that, but I don't think I'm going to get me one. We will see. I mean, you know, for Patreon and that kind of jazz, it would be interesting to paint it up because everyone's going to be hyped for it. But if I don't like the model, I just can't do that. And yeah, like I said, my main concern is that it's just really, really overloaded, and I just want a few areas that I just can, I don't know, paint some detail on my own. Hey Ace VP Zombie, thank you so much for your kind for your kind words. I'll certainly keep doing what I do. I just, like I said, I want to share my stuff more and stream more and all that, but at the moment, time and money just don't allow it. And that's the thing when you have too many hobbies. It's worth a try, yeah. We will see, like I said. I mean, there's a lot of people that support me on Twitch, and I'm super grateful for that. And I still prefer Twitch because of the way the community can interact, I guess. And there's also more of a community of streamers. That's funny. What's on man88? If you're here and you just followed me on Twitch, then thank you. But yeah, I would certainly miss Twitch because of all the people that I know there, also the other streamers and all that. I might be wrong, but YouTube kind of appears to me like, okay, you're this one guy or one person and you stream and you try to build an audience, and then there's you're in this bubble with your audience and you don't really look left and right and you don't have any interaction with other content creators. I don't know, that's just my impression, you know, I could be wrong. And that's what I would be missing from Twitch. But like I said, I'm also going to stream on Facebook just to see how it goes. Maybe tomorrow, we will see. Just want to experiment a bit. Games Workshop seems to hate areas of rest. That's a good way to place it. Area of rest, kind of like it. But yeah, that's actually a good thing. I mean, a good way to name it, because if your eye is constantly busy bouncing off of detail, from detail to detail, then that's not gonna be a good miniature, even though people are going to say, wow, it's so much detail and it just shows how awesome the sculptors are. It's just not a well-designed miniature, that's the thing. So yeah, but not a lot of people care about miniature design in that area. I mean, for obvious reason, because they mainly use it for wargaming, which is fine too, right? But I just wish that a lot of people will be a tiny bit more open, that there's other aspects of this hobby, and one of them is sculpting and design of characters. And that viewed under some of those principles, then some Games Workshop miniatures are just not good on an objective level. But I mean, others are, so still gonna give them the credit they deserve. Do you know if I can get an automated message when I go live? I have no idea. I actually have no idea. I mean, hold on. If you're maybe the email you registered with for Google is going to get a notification. I'm pretty sure that that's the only thing. I don't know. I need to look into it. It's my first stream. I have no idea. Sorry. It's really hard to find other streamers on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. That's my quote unquote complain unless you are following this person already. So yeah, that's why I'm unsure. I mean, if are there any people that just randomly came in here for some reason? Or are you guys all following me on my channel already? Or Facebook? Or Twitter? Because if there's no growth potential, then I don't know. Yeah, the thing is also on Twitch I didn't really see growth, even though I know I did nothing. I mean, the thing is I went to, there's people streaming on Twitch that are doing game related stuff, so for example Doom and Dark Souls, and it's just not just, but it is basically the plastic miniatures, and of course you have a complete character there that people can look at, and there's just people going crazy with the follows. So people that were about my followers basically doubled their followers, and I just went into Dark Souls 2 and I tried to create something original from the Dark Soul universe, or just related, like this guy here that is the design for a merchant in Dark Souls, and I got 3 followers in 4 hours. So I don't know, I just want to grow my community, my viewership, and if it's stagnating, then that's that's not fun for some reason. Having an active chat helps, of course, but if you don't see any growth, there's always, if there's no growth, then the potential for shrinking is a real one, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. Games Workshop designers seem rather spastic. Are you interested in StarCraft remake? Looks essentially the same to me, but with better physics and resolution. Yeah, I just was about to say, if it's just that, then no, not really. I'm also not interested in a Diablo 2 remake, because, for example, that would just be a widescreen and better graphics, but story would be the same, items would be the same and all that, and I played that for years, so I really don't want to play it again. I want something new and fresh, and I'm guessing StarCraft is going to be the same, and I think it's a rather lazy approach from Blizzard. Instead of coming up with something new, they're just redoing all those franchises. It's a bit of a cheap way out, like I said. Okay, so like I said, I don't want to go too crazy with the anatomy back here, but sometimes I just need to fix something. They didn't remake cutscenes. Oh, okay. Yeah, Diablo 2 was awesome. Like I said, I played it for almost 6 years, I think. I don't know why. I mean, it's an awesome game, but I just played it too much already, and I just don't want to do the same things over and over again that I already did. All games are just better. I think, some of it is definitely, what's the word? dwelling in the past. Like everything was better than a bit of blurring out the bad things of those games. But I think the game designer, and especially the way that difficulty worked back then. If a game was hard, then it was hard, and you had to suck it up and try to beat it, and you couldn't just go on a forum and complain, and then it would get nerfed. That culture in games just is too much at the moment. So yeah, I think that's also part of why games used to be a lot better in the past. Okay, let's work on the face gear or head gear a tiny bit. Just laying out the area that's going to be covered. If the skin will be covered eventually with uniformly, aside from keeping correct proportions, do you have to spend much time on the body? No, you don't. But I'm like I said, I'm somehow spending too much time on that all the time. I mean, technically you could just press in enough volume to have done this ball-like structure here. That is the joint up here, and then just put in 2 layers of clay so that the trapezius shows properly. You don't have to spend that much time, but also when I'm streaming and I'm talking a lot, I sometimes get carried away from what I'm doing, and yeah, so you don't really have to spend that much time. Especially you don't have to smooth it like I did. But I feel like when I go in and smooth it, it looks, for me it's a double check whether it's right or not, but you definitely don't have to spend that much time. I am definitely guilty of spending too much time on these parts sometimes. Also, I feel I don't really have a design for this yet, so if I have to develop the character, I just make sure that everything below is in order, and then I can just try and put different shapes on top of that. So for me it's a part of the design process. And how comfortable you feel with actually designing and moving forward and all that. I always tell people to try, and if you want to move forward in your sculpting, try sculpting faster, sketching more. Don't care too much about smoothing. But you know, I feel like I have a decent speed when sculpting, so I will put in the extra effort and just, for example, use my rake tool and smooth this, or blend it together at least. Right, so that was basically no effort, and now I have somewhat of a smooth structure that I can work with. I think I want this to go a bit more to the front. And this is going to look stupid, but this is more like how do you call that in English? A face cover out of cloth, and then on top of that we are going to put the actual armor. So it's probably going to end up more like this. So on top of this is going to be the armor. So this head piece is going to be rather large. Alright, but I have to go. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back on YouTube, so, and you can also check out my other videos on sculpting if you want to. So make sure you drop me a subscription. And thanks for watching today. I will see you around.